In large part, this is to be laid at the feet of Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud, the great late 19th, early 20th century psychoanalyst, who argued that who we are at the most fundamental level is our sexual desires. And of course, once you start arguing that our fundamental identity is our sexual desire, or our sexual desires, then two things happen. One, sex ceases to be an activity and moves towards being an identity. If you look at the Bible or you look at ancient Greece, there's plenty of sex goes on in the Bible, plenty of sex goes on in ancient Greece. But it's always an activity. Sometimes that activity is considered legitimate, sometimes illegitimate. But it's an activity, not an identity. Once you make the move that says the person you really are is determined by your sexual desire, then sex ceases to be an activity and becomes an identity. Such that if I were to say to you, I'm gay, I'm not even claiming there to have had a sexual experience. I'm defining myself purely in terms of a psychological erotic desire which I experience or which I have. Now think about that. Once identity is sexual, once your sexual desires are your identity, it's inevitable that sex is going to become political, because rules governing sex, laws governing sex, become not so much rules and laws about behavior as about who you are allowed to be. A law that forbids a certain kind of sexual activity, the manifestation of a certain kind of sexual desire, is a law that forbids that kind of person. And that's why once sex becomes identity, sex must also become politicized, because identities are political, inevitably so. The identities that society recognizes and the identities that society refuses to recognize define the polis, define what society is, are, in other words, profoundly political.